What's up, y'all?
What's going on, yo?
We just finished watching 2002's version, which is Danish version of See No Evil. I'm just gonna say the plain, that movie's messed up. A lack of a better word, I guess.
We just finished it, so we're both kind of like, wow.
The ending was rough. Probably one of the worst endings. Not worst meaning for the fate of the characters that I've ever seen in a movie. So I heard about this movie a while back, and I'm probably butchering this. It's between a Danish couple and a couple from the Netherlands. I think the guy who created this said that people from Denmark, Danish people, they have like their culture just to be like super duper nice. They let a lot of BS go by. So I guess he decides to make like a horror mystery type movie based on that, where people kind of push your kindness,
Push your boundaries.
Your boundaries to the limits, right? That's pretty much all this movie's about. The Danish couple is in Italy. They end up meeting this couple from the Netherlands, and it just goes off the rails from there.
Yeah, like all on quote unquote family vacation. Patrick, was the antagonist, kind of sets the sights on Bjorn. Bjorn comes off like a pushover, and one of the ways that they show that is that I was trying to decide on what restaurant they want to eat at, and his daughter has this little like plushy rabbit Nino, and she misplaced it. And so in this city that they're vacationing at, she lost her Nino, and he ends up going to look for it. And I guess that's when Patrick was like, ding, ding, ding.
Because when Bjorn got back to his wife and kid, they were talking to Patrick, who I think was at the previous, I guess, hotel, let's say, that they were at. And they start to talk, and he asked him, so you switched this whole city for that rabbit? And he's like, oh, how brave. And I guess that was like, yeah, okay, these are the guys. They part ways. It has like these, you see this, obviously these beautiful cities and landscapes, but it's always followed by this menacing ass music, right? I was trying to think, are they trying to set the tone for the movie? Which probably is also one thing. They're trying to let you know this ain't gonna be no sunshine and rainbows, right? Also, I think it was showing the horror of how Bjorn sees his life. And he's tired of smiling and acting like he's happy when he's not. Living this boring, routine life, mundane lifestyle, going to, children's plays and then eating with his wife's friends that he can't fucking stand. And he's just tired of his life, and he wants some excitement. So then they get a postcard in the mail from Patrick and Karen, and they say, come out and visit us. And the wife, who has all the sense that he doesn't, so it's like, you don't even know these people, basically. And he pushed the issue, and they went.
Yes.
Slowly but surely, the boundaries get pushed and pushed.
Patrick's whole thing in this movie, his thing is all your decision. So he pushes these boundaries with every situation.
It's all mental with him. It's not physical. He never gets in front of them and says, you cannot leave at any point.
Even during their demise, like during that moment, it was not in your face. You get what I'm saying? Like, and we'll explain that later on, because that's interesting too. The first moment that he pushes it is Louisa is a vegetarian, and she mentioned it when they met in Italy. Their first night there, when they're visiting, he cooks a wild boar.
Who the fuck is eating wild boar?
So then he cooks it, and he's like, here, take some. I insist. Now, they just met one time. He may have forgotten she's a vegetarian, but this is when you see how much of a pushover Bjorn is. Because Luis is like, no, he's like, no, I insist. He goes Bjorn bitch ass, talking about, oh, just take a little bite.
Just eat a little bit. Like, what?
I was like, damn, how you gonna let some other man offer her meat like that? Like, and you ain't gonna say nothing? Bjorn irritated the fuck out of me. This is why it's so important, like, if you're in a relationship or whatever, to be fulfilled. Because all of this was because he was unfulfilled, and he needed some excitement, and so they ultimately paid for that.
It was a mixture of things. It was him being unfulfilled, part of the culture, right? And then I just think also he's just a coward at the same time.
Actually, before the wild boar thing, I missed the thing, is they decided to make her a bed.
Oh, Agnes, the child.
Patrick and Karen make her this, it looks like a freaking sandwich.
It was like a couch cushion and a pillow. Like, what is this? And the other kid had a whole bed. Like, you're like, what? Like, yo, you can sleep here. I made this for you. I'm like, nah.
Even with people that I know, no, you're gonna sleep in a room with us. I'm just paranoid like that. This is what we're doing. I wouldn't have been there anyways. I'm not visiting and staying in nobody's house that I just met. I have a hard enough time doing that with people that I'm family to. Like, it ain't happening.
Let alone an 8-hour trip to some people I don't know. No, it's not. Maybe if I don't know you and maybe we kind of made friends, maybe I'll drive an hour to eat lunch, but I ain't spending the night at your house. What are we, 5?
There was no way. We would have had to stay somewhere else. But they decided to stay. She didn't want to be there to begin with. She felt like, she was against it from the beginning. But they went. And part of they had a dinner with their friends before they left. And that was part of the conversation. Oh, it'll be rude to say no. So you are right. It was a mixture of that.
For us Americans, it'd be rude to say, I don't give a fuck.
No, real talk. Yeah, I would have been freaked out at even getting a postcard. Like, I just met you. why are you sending a postcard? So after dinner, something happens that should have been their next clue to get the fuck up out of there. But anyway, Bjorn's standing there, and Abel, which is their son, walks up to him,
Patrick's son, the antagonist.
opens up his mouth. What does Bjorn see?
Well, it's even creepier than that. I think Bjorn was looking for something. This whole movie, you know, I'm sure they planned this, right? I don't know if this one part was planned. Maybe the boy just snuck it. Maybe that was like that boy trying to warn him, or maybe he sent him out there to do that. You know, just to freak him out, to see what happened. We don't know. We don't know. So he's looking for something. With the little boy, you could see him in the glass behind him, in front of him. So that's when he turned around and looked. And this little boy just staring at him out in the dark of night outside the side of the house, and he just opens his mouth slowly. I'm like, is this a supernatural movie? Like, what's going on? Right, you too?
Yeah, I was like, oh boy.
And funny enough, this movie was scarier than any supernatural movie, just off of the concept.
It sure was.
He opens his mouth, you see he has like this little nub of a tongue and shit. At that moment, I'd have been like, oh, hey, Abel, let's go back in the house, Abel. And then I'd have been like, you know, where they called him back. Now, I'd have got the fuck out of there, man.
Now, that should have been their cue to go. To Luisa's credit, she was already like pulling Bjorn over to the side, like, something ain't right here. I'm not feeling right. The next boundary that they push is like they're talking, Bjorn and Luisa. Here goes Karen from around the corner. Oh, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't interrupt. But we planned a dinner date or whatever. We're all gonna go to this like local, you know, restaurant. They can't turn down an invitation to dinner, right? So they decide to go. But right before they're leaving, she invites this strange man to the house. And she's like, well, who's this guy? And she's like, oh, he's the babysitter. What?
Like, wait, the kids that can't come? And she was like, oh, we didn't tell you? It's like, no, nigga, you didn't tell me. I'm leaving my child. It's bad enough we here. I'm gonna leave my child. Nah, you gonna have to reschedule some shit. That should have been another indication to leave, but no.
He grinded my gears so bad.
Oh, I hated him. By the end of the movie, I was like, let Louise go.
So irritated by it. But they end up going during the dinner. What you noticed was that as they're talking,
Patrick and Karen, Dutch couple, when they speak, it's never translated. It's left up in the wind to what they're saying. But of course, when Bjorn and Louise and Agnes are speaking, which are the Danish family, we get translated to what they're saying. So you never know.
I thought that was a cool detail. Kept it going of like the mystery. So she's like, remember I'm vegetarian. And he's like, well, do you eat fish? She goes, yeah, sometimes. He goes, oh, so you're a pescatarian. So then she's like, well, sometimes I'll eat fish. And that moment, I would have been like, I'm a whatever the fuck I want to eat-atarian. Like, I don't care. Like, why are you asking me all of this shit? Like, I'm on vacation, dog. Like, who gives a shit? I'm telling you, I don't want no motherfucking meat right now. Like, you're just that simple. So they kind of have a little back and forth. And here goes Bjorn, bitch ass.
I forgot what he said, but he was like trying to just tell her. He was just, once again, go along to get along crap. Like, that's what he does. Whenever there's a point where your man should be, yo, hold on, bro. Calm down, man. What's wrong with you? Don't talk to my wife like that. What's wrong with you? You know, like I said, it's a little bit of the culture too, but it's also mixed with his fucking cowardice. And he's all like, no, just, you know, come on, don't fight. And then she calmed down or whatever. Louise is like getting annoyed with Bjorn telling her to chill. She takes a whole glass of wine to the head, just pow, right? In a couple seconds. They all kind of lit. And Patrick gets up, he dancing and smoking cigarettes. And then like, you see Bjorn, I almost thought Bjorn wanted Patrick to clap his cheeks or something, because he's just giving him these just longing stares, you know what I'm saying? And as I said later, which I was pointing out, Bjorn is just tired of his life. He a punk, and he sees Patrick as just the opposite. What he wants to be. He sees this daring man. He get up and he smoke when he wants to smoke, and he get up and dance in front of everybody. He don't care. If the check comes out, I think he made it sound like he was going to get the tip or something, and then he was like, is this all on us? And Patrick's like, oh, thanks. I'm glad you offered. Just taps him on the shoulder, walk back. I mean, man, if you don't bring your narrow ass back in and pay for this, you invited me out here and you ordered some shit. I don't even know what was in it.
So yet another boundary or another way that he pushes to see how far he can go with Bjorn. When they get in the car on the way home, Patrick is drunk and like swerving and shit. Who knows if he was really drunk?
He definitely was exaggerating his driving. And then he blasts the music to like this uncomfortable level, I guess, for Luis and Bjorn. Now me and you were talking about how it wasn't really a problem for us. Like, I don't tell people what to do when I'm in that car with them. He cranks it, and then the funny thing, she's like, yo, it's loud. Tell him to turn it down. And then he's just like yelling loud enough, and like, I think Patrick heard him and just like, nigga, please.
Yeah, they laughed at them. Then Louisa,
turn the fucking music down. It was like, whoa, hold on. Louisa went to New York on him for, it's like, turn the shit down, nigga.
And it was in that moment that it was like, okay, we know we could push him here. It's like not really a threat. It seemed like I guess like a puppy, you know.
They snap at you.
Oh, that was cute, right? It was another psychological touch for them that they enjoyed. And this is when it goes from y'all are weird to now menacing.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
So afterwards, like Louise is upset and she decides to go take a shower. As she's in the shower, Patrick, well, I mean, we can assume it's Patrick because the person was standing up taking a piss, right? And so Patrick walks into the bathroom and starts taking a leak while Luis is in the shower. And then he starts to brush his teeth. And so I think that this was just another like psych test for him.
I think the music test, they passed because they said something and it got loud. So even though they kind of laughed at him, they was like, okay, you stood up for yourself here. And you could tell from her expression that it wasn't Bjorn because she was looking at him and she looked horrified. You know what I'm saying? She just like kind of like covered her body and he pisses and brushes his teeth. And it's like, regardless, I'm like, hey, I'm in the bathroom, man. Get out.
Because now they're starting to feel uncomfortable. So now he almost like ramps it up a bit, right? After that moment, she rushes back into the room. Whatever fucking reason, they get horny.
I think they still was a little drunk. I think that might have been it.
Yeah, but that would have knocked that shit out real quick.
Yeah, I was making jokes the whole time. I don't know how that girl ever got wet with that boy. She should have been dried in the Sahara Desert. She'd be like, you have been such a pussy. I have went into menopause. Do you understand me?
Like, bruh, you haven't stood up for me one time.
Multiple nights. They've been there for what, maybe 3 nights or something. That boy has been crying and whining all night.
Howling at the moon.
And that's why the daughter couldn't sleep, because she was in there with him.
Which should have been another tale, but you know.
Why that boy howling like that? Man, we gotta get the fuck up out of here.
The little girl's crying to go into the room. They're horny, so they're doing what the fuck they're doing. He looks over and Patrick is at, because there's like a little window.
Patrick just staring in like, hey, Betty, you know?
Patrick is staring. They end up falling asleep because your daughter's like crying for you in a strange house. So I guess she woke up and realized, oh shit, my daughter was crying for me. Runs to the little room. The daughter's not there. Where's the daughter? Where is the daughter?
Daughter is in the bed with Patrick and Karen, and Patrick's whole ass is just out up in the air. And Luisa's like, oh my God, no. She like got her kid up there. She's like, wake your punk ass up. We getting out of here tonight. So she's like, we getting out of here as soon as our sun comes up. You understand me?
So they get everybody up. They get up and out. They get their shit in the car and they're on their way. And this motherfucking stuffed animal, Ninu, the daughter thinks she left Ninu at the house. And so instead of these people realizing like, hey, this ain't the time to be doubling back for no fucking stuffed animal. Baby girl, you just gonna have to cry. You're gonna have to cry this one out. We'll get you another one. You'll be okay. No. Because Bjorn doesn't know how to fucking say no.
Remember when they were leaving, how sad and forlorn they looked as they were leaving?
Bjorn strikes me as one of those people that will begrudgingly do a lot of things, like overextend themselves for people, and then end up going, well, they asked me to. I didn't want to, but they needed me. In that moment, what does he do? Turns around and they go back to the house. Now, they probably still could have got out at this point, because guess where the fuck Nina was at? Underneath the chair. And they find out as soon as Bjorn goes into the house. But he decides that he has to tell Patrick. Well, Patrick was up.
Patrick probably asked him what the hell happened.
And so he's trying to explain to Patrick. And again, he shows his cowardice by going, Luisa, can you help me out here? He couldn't figure it out.
And I had to look at him like, what? And she had to tell him, okay, it's been several things y'all been doing that's annoying us. We don't like it. So we're deciding to leave. And then he's like, can you be specific? Like, no, I don't like you and I want to leave.
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
And then about them being all over each other at the bar, which, you know, driving drunk, the music, and then it brought my daughter in there.
That should have been the end all be all.
Right? And then they're like, well, where were you? She was crying. I'm like, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Y'all was naked. It doesn't matter.
They end up convincing them to stay. But they're like, we're gonna have a great time.
Well, the gaslighting is strong with this couple.
Making these two feel like they were just over sensitive, right? Remember, Patrick has been reading Bjorn since he met him in Italy. That's what predators do. Predators are great at reading people. He knew Bjorn was the one that could be baited.
He saw that, yeah, the real coward was him, because whenever there's someone that needs to step up, most of the time it's like, Bobby's doing it, not him. I think he was trying to see, where did the root of this cowardice come from? Why are you like this? You know, murderers, they want to, like you said, sometimes they do like to get in the heads of their victim. And he basically said what I said earlier. He's like, I'm tired of smiling. I'm tired of this life. It's mundane. It's boring. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy, you know, hanging around with the people I'm hanging around. It just sucks.
If you thought Bjorn was in love with Patrick before then, Patrick turns on the radio, puts on this love song, and he's singing it and looking at him.
Patrick was acting all like passive aggressive and stuff, and like looking at him, giving him side glances. And then he's like, may I put on some music? And he's like, yeah. And then like Bjorn is just smiling too. Like, he has this weird creepy smile, like you do at customer service jobs. Like, you just smile, I hate you, motherfucker. He puts on the music. He's like, you can turn it up if you want. And then he does. And then he's like, oh, what kind of music you like? And they discuss. And he's like, well, okay, I'm gonna put this one Dutch band and stuff. And he just plays, and it's just, and then Patrick starts serenading Bjorn. And Bjorn is just looking in his eyes and smiling. I'm like, are they gonna kiss each other?
And Bjorn was like in it. He was in it, and he was sold on staying there. They were at this like little. Well, this place is important because they ended up returning back to it later on. But
Oh, that was the same place?
yeah, it was the same place.
So this guy took him to their gravesite before? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, you know how I noticed it? That big brown like thing that was standing up. It looks like a door in a way. It's like it was real random in the middle of like everything. That's how I remembered it. They're standing there, they're screaming, and he's sort of like showing him how to release, tension and all that. And they end up going back to the house.
Yeah, because they'd be screaming again.
They hop in the hot tub and they're drinking beers and
Sitting too close to each other.
way too close to each other. And then they're having lunch. And this is yet another boundary that they sort of push. Now, this time, this boundary is with the daughter and Louisa. So Karen is being, I guess you would say, like, quote unquote, mothering. So she's like, hey, Agnes, can you set the table? And Louisa's looking at her like, the fuck?
I love the little side comment. Louisa's like, what?
And then they're at the table and they're eating. And she's like giving her all these instructions in their language. And Louisa's like,
In Dutch.
and Louisa's looking at her like, what the fuck is going on? So at some point, Louisa just like, hey, can you stop? So that the kids have wanted to show them a dance. And so then they're doing this dance. Patrick starts getting on the boy, Abel. Oh, he's not on rhythm. He's not doing it right. And the little girl, Agnes, is starting to get like getting freaked out about it. They're getting freaked out because he's getting progressively more upset. And he's like, do it again. And so at some point, Bjorn steps up to Patrick and he's like, you can't do that. But he's still like kind of mincing in a way. He's not like saying it with his full chest.
Yeah, he's never real meek and like, oh, come on, leave him alone. And Patrick's like, no, he has to do it right. So yeah, some parents are assholes like that, right? And it's like, you can't really tell people what to do with their kids. But when he's like through that glass, that would have been, I'm like, you need to, I would have been like, you need to calm the fuck down because he's scaring my kid. What's wrong with you?
And that was another boundary with the daughter. Like, no, they're like, no, you don't have to dance again. They're like, no, she does. Or go ahead, do it again. And they're like, no.
I'd have been like, Patrick, if you want to dance, then you fucking do it.
It was like during these moments where I was like, okay, I had a thought that there's something not right with the boy. And I had a feeling maybe he don't belong there. I'm saying that for a reason. So later on that night, Bjorn, the little boy, is howling at the moon again. Or just crying, and Patrick is racing back and forth, getting progressively like and yelling at him and stuff like that. So Bjorn decides to and it had the TV very loud. Another boundary. Bjorn decides to go turn the TV off. As he's turning the TV off, Patrick was outside somewhere, but then he just disappeared. As he turns the TV off, he starts to roam around. What do you know? Now, earlier that day, he admits to him that he lied about being a doctor, and he's never worked a day in his life. He roams into a room lined with suitcases and cameras on the top shelf.
And pictures of family that they've all taken pictures with. The twist is in each picture, you see them with another child too. And then you'll see like another picture, corresponding picture with that kid with another family. It's just like with them with another kid. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Oh my God.
The one good thing that Bjorn did was see that, run and get his family.
But before he ran to get his family, what did we see? They were dead in the pool that they were in earlier.
Because what did you say? You said, oh shit, every kid is like their trophy. Because if you know anything about serial killers, a lot of them like to take trophy or some sort of like memento of the,
Well, they have multiple trophies, the suitcases, the camera, but the kid is the one they get to take with them everywhere. And it's also another way to trick other families. Oh, you got a kid? I got a kid.
He sees Abel in that little jacuzzi or whatever. There, he's like, all right, we got to get the fuck out. So he gets everybody up. They get into the car. They go. And one of the mistakes that we say he made, he didn't tell her what he saw. He just got them up and they left.
So that's when you get your whispering voice. Because you don't want to freak them out when they're in the house. Because one might scream or say something loud and then they go, oh, you don't know, these motherfuckers just killed somebody. Oh shit. But yeah, as soon as I got in the car and got driving, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let y'all know this now. We left because I went to turn the TV off, and then the one thing led to another. I was outside. They killed that damn boy, and there's pictures all over the world of them with other families and different children, each one. And we gotta get the fuck up out of here. All right. I would have warned them if they catch us or they pull us up, we gonna fight these motherfuckers to the end. You understand me? So yeah. So they leave, low on gas. Gets gas, he's driving, and he's paranoid, right? He don't know what car is which, right? And it could have been their car, could have not been, who knows, right? So he goes off-road. Never drive off-road. But he was such a panic that once again, he could have shared this with his wife. He gets stuck. I see a house off in the distance. I'm gonna see if I can go get some help. There's other things he probably could have done, but he leaves his wife and kid alone in the car. Instead of giving them the heads up, no, he just leaves them. So Patrick pulls up, and of course, what do you think is gonna happen? They don't know what's going on. You didn't tell your wife. Y'all are too damn polite for your own good.
I'm sorry, but this is where it irritated me because, like, okay, even though he didn't tell her what happened, which that was his mistake, but ma'am, you can't put two and two together. Y'all left in the middle of the night. Why do you think that happened? Why the fuck would you be welcoming to this man and his wife after y'all left their house in the dead of the night?
Second time without letting them know too. So then this guy done fall in a puddle, all this stuff. He gets there, nobody's home. Comes back, doesn't see his wife. Another head game Patrick's playing. Takes his wife and kid and disappears. So now he don't know all is left was the bunny rabbit, right? He's looking, can't find. He's freaking out. He's crying. He's snotting. He's spitting. Then all of a sudden, who rolls up on him? Patrick. And he let him know. He's like, get in the car. You know, he's like, don't hurt my family. Get in the car. You'll be all right. And that's the longest, shortest part of the movie. So they're driving, and Luis is like, what's going on? Where are we going? And then that's when Patrick's like, shut up. And she's like, excuse me? And the other one, and the camera's like, just shut up. And they're like, and then the bitch shuts up. So they drive a little longer, and then Luis is like, you gonna tell me what's going on? And then he's like, bitch, shut your mouth. He's like, don't talk to my wife. Like, and then he just bitch slaps him. Nigga, shut your mouth. He just slaps him. She's like, okay. Karen starts getting real creepy, like, give me Agnes. Give me Agnes. Give her here. And she's like, no. And they get to like the stop, and they signal the dude, and the babysitter dude comes, and this is probably the roughest part, but trigger warning, I'm just giving you that one right now. They cut the little girl Agnes' tongue right out of her mouth in front of the parents.
Yo, when that part happened, the babysitter guy comes to the window and he grabs Louisa, basically to hold her back. Yeah, puts her in a chokehold. And I'm like, they don't have a fight or a flight in them. Like, neither one. It was so frustrating to watch.
Cause he would have to drag me out of that car if I was the mom by my neck. He would have to choke me out. And Bjorn, I would have summoned my Viking ancestors and went to town on that boy, man.
Like, y'all failed that little girl so bad.
Oh, yeah, it was terrible. Usually they don't show that type of stuff in movies, especially in American movies they don't, but this ain't an American movie. Yeah, so you actually see her tongue get cut out, and it was bad, man. The scene wasn't funny, but the act was. Patrick is just holding it, mushing him to the side, just holding his mouth to the side while he's doing whatever with the other hand. And Bjorn's just like,
bruh.
Like he was a puppy, like, and you were just holding it there to, like, don't run. And then he like gets loose, and Patrick gives him a couple decks in her face, and then when they cut her tongue off, I guess he like vomited, but it wasn't even like a regular vomit. It was just like a spray. The babysitter man absconds with the daughter, mouth covered in blood, and then they just drive off. And Luisa's freaking out, but she ain't doing nothing. She's screaming, she's banging on the door. I'd be attacking Bjorn. I'd be attacking Karen. I'd be attacking her. One of my feet would have went across Patrick's face while he was driving that car, at least.
Yo, seriously.
At the very end, Patrick stops the car, leaves the keys in the car, and goes out and has a piss. Now, I made a joke and asked if he had diabetes, because this man pees a lot in this movie. I don't know if this was a test or this was a show that he had broken him so much that he knew that they wouldn't do nothing. Now, we about to go and take y'all out. Y'all have shown us up to this point that you wouldn't even fight for your child, really, so I know you're not going to try to escape. Or it could have been like, this is your last test. This is the last time you got to try to escape. What you gonna do?
I think it was, I know you're not gonna do it. At this point, I feel like everything was, I know you're not gonna do anything.
Yeah, me too. Get back in the car, and they take him back to the spot you said earlier that they were screaming at. Make him strip, and they just stone him to death. If you ever heard somebody in the ghetto sound strip you butt naked, that's what he did to them. That shit was crazy. And I know it was cold because it's Europe. Y'all ain't never not cold. The last bit of dialogue that they shared was he goes, "Why are you doing this to us?" And he said, "Because you let me." So that's the whole movie. They push these people over these boundaries, and anytime you could leave, anytime you could escape, should even be, like I said, I mean, it could be a chance / whatever at the end that you could leave, you know what I'm saying? But you let these people, they murk themselves in a sense.
Even if you look at just the chain of events, like you had every reason to leave from the beginning, and you did get away. You made the decision to double back for a fucking teddy bear. You had every opportunity to leave. You had every opportunity to defend your family. You had every opportunity to like set boundaries, and you didn't do it. At some point, you got to put your foot down and be like, no.
Yeah, culture be damned.
You think I'm a bad one? Oh well, you'll get over it. And he couldn't even do that in the best interest of his family. Even if your wife is like, oh, because she wasn't even saying to turn around for the teddy bear. He was like, I'm gonna turn around, and maybe because he wanted to avoid an argument later on or whatever. But at the end of the day, like, even he couldn't be like, no. Yeah, it was an interesting psychological horror, right?
It was a horror / mystery book.
It was really good. Really, really good. At the end, we were like, oh my God.
I like movies with bad endings, but that was rough. That was rough. Because the very last ending, they show a bunch of families. And it's almost like, in a sense, like them looking for the next target, And then at the very end, you see Patrick driving down this beautiful road, this beautiful vista. And who's sitting in the back? Luis with a fucking bunny rabbit, looking down. Almost like basically where Abel was at one point. And the cycle begins anew. And it's like, we all know it's going to ultimately end up happening to her and all that other stuff. And it's just like, ugh. It was a good movie, but a very dark ending. Would you get the movie? It's time for some ratings of the movie.
I definitely would recommend this. I know some people, it might be triggering the ending. The ending was pretty rough, I'm not going to lie, but it was very good.
But at the end of the day, if you don't set boundaries, that could end up happening to you. Like, maybe not to that extent. You don't tell people to back the fuck off. Sometimes you could end up getting unalive.
Well, predators look for prey. And if you don't know how to set boundaries, you will be prey. You got to be careful. I would definitely recommend it. It was really, really good. I enjoyed it. I was locked in. I feel like I'm always giving great reviews. I think it's because we've watched a lot of good movies. Honestly, I think I'm going to give this one a 10, yo. Because that ending had me like, yo, are you serious? We knew that they were gonna go. I didn't think that they were gonna survive this at all, right? But it was dumb. Even in death, they were meek. They didn't fight. They could have fought. They literally like lay down and died.
They didn't even try to run. They just stood there and let these guys stone them from overhead. Like they could have just ran from. They didn't have guns. I didn't show that they had any. At least they could have just run away.
And even in that instance, it was their decision because they were down there. They were all the way at the top. They could have ran, but they didn't. It was their decision to just lay down and die like that.
But also that was their goal, to get them to that point, get these people to that point and find people that will just let us do whatever to them. No, I heard this movie before. I already knew people liked it. Yes, I would definitely recommend it, especially to people who like horror, because it was a little bit of a slow burn, you know? I will say this, the music was creepy. It was too loud at some points. You know what I'm saying? It was really loud. And it's like, I didn't want to turn that, because when they're talking and shit with everybody else, it's not crazy loud, you know? But maybe that was the point.
I think it was. I think it was meant to be obnoxious.
Acting was good, a lot of thought-provoking, the conversation. We'll give it a hard, like, you know, if you don't like to see violence to children, like when that part comes, you might want to skip it.
Yeah, that was rough. I had to look away. Like, I was like, God, that was Nina from like the corner of my eye. Like, oh my God.
So hard trigger warning on that. But that being said, if we both gave it favorable scores, we would recommend it. There is a 2024 version, same name. It stars my boy James McAvoy. I love that man. James McAvoy can act his way out of a paper bag, and he also does pretty good villains. Have you ever seen Split?
Oh yes. Yeah, he's great.
So he plays Patrick in the movie.
Ah, okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's crazy. Normally when they do these remakes, they wait a little bit. 2 fucking years, man. If you haven't seen the American version of it, see the Danish version first. It's all in English, except for a couple parts. And like we said, they cleverly do it. Parts they want you to hear, you see in subtitles when they're speaking another language, and the other parts it's specifically done so you won't know what they're saying. And I would say, what would you say, like 90% of it is in English?
Oh yeah.
I guess we're gonna see you on the 2024 version. Will Bjorn's replacement be as much of a bitch as this guy? Well, I guess we'll see. Sorry, y'all. See y'all. Oh, shit.